In the wizarding world, power is often mistaken for wealth. Grand manors, ancient surnames, and overflowing Gringotts vaults give the illusion that one family clearly stands above the rest. But when we look closely, wizarding wealth is not just about gold. It is about age, influence, inheritance, and how long that money has survived untouched. So today, we settle one of the most debated questions in the Harry Potter universe. Who was truly the richest family of them all? The Potters, the Malfoys, or the Blacks? Let us examine each family carefully. The Potter family, quiet old money wealth. The Potter family was never flashy, never loud, and never obsessed with blood purity. But behind their modest lifestyle lay an enormous fortune. The Potters were an old wizarding family dating back to the 12th century. Their wealth came primarily from innovation, not inheritance. Several Potter ancestors were skilled potion makers. The most famous contribution was Sleekeazy's hair potion, a wildly successful product used by witches and wizards across Britain. By the time James Potter was born, the family fortune had already grown massive. James inherited the entire Potter estate at a young age, meaning that he and Lily never had to work. They lived comfortably, supported the Order of the Phoenix financially, and still left Harry with a Gringotts vault so full that it shocked him as an 11-year-old. However, the Potter wealth had one defining trait. It was finite. There were no sprawling properties, no political influence, and no ancient hoards of dark artifacts. The Potter fortune was large, stable, and secure, but it was the wealth of a successful family, not a ruling dynasty. The Malfoy family, power, prestige, and political wealth. The Malfoys represent everything people imagine when they think of wizarding riches. Their wealth dates back to William the Conqueror, when the Malfoys followed him to Britain and were rewarded with land, gold, and influence. Over centuries, they carefully invested their money into land ownership, political favors, and ministry influence. Malfoys did not invent products like the Potters. Instead, they controlled systems. They bribed officials, shaped laws, and positioned themselves near power at all times. Lucius Malfoy's wealth was so vast that he casually donated thousands of galleons to the ministry, owned priceless magical artifacts, and lived in a manner that rivaled Hogwarts in scale. However, the Malfoy wealth had one defining trait. It was vulnerable. It was dependent on alignment with power. When Voldemort fell, the Malfoys nearly lost everything. Their money survived, but their influence did not. Their riches were enormous, yes, but vulnerable to political collapse. The Black family, ancient, untouched, and terrifyingly vast. Now we come to the Blacks. The Blacks were not just wealthy, they were ancient. The House of Black was one of the oldest pureblood families in existence, older than the Malfoys and far older than the Potters. Their wealth was not earned, invested, or grown. It was accumulated over centuries and never spent. Their Gringotts vaults contained generations of gold, enchanted heirlooms, dark artifacts, rare magical objects, and properties across wizarding Britain. 12 Grimmauld Place was only one of many Black properties. Unlike the Malfoys, the Blacks did not need political influence. Their name alone commanded fear and respect. Unlike the Potters, their wealth was not dependent on a single source of income. When Sirius Black became the last living male heir, he inherited everything. That meant Sirius, while living as a fugitive, was technically one of the richest wizards alive. And when he died, the entire Black fortune passed to Harry Potter. At that moment, Harry inherited the wealth of two powerful families. So, who was the richest? Let us be clear. The Potters were extremely wealthy, but modest and limited. The Malfoys were richer in influence than gold, powerful but politically fragile. The Blacks possessed ancient, untouched wealth that survived centuries without erosion. By sheer scale, longevity, and accumulated value, the Black family stands above them all. They were not just rich, they were dynastically wealthy. In the end, the richest family in the wizarding world was not the loudest, nor the most visible. It was the family whose gold had been waiting quietly for centuries. The Potters had success, the Malfoys had power, but the Blacks had everything. And ironically, that vast fortune ended up in the hands of a boy who never cared about gold at all. If you enjoyed deep wizarding lore, hidden details, and untold stories from the Harry Potter universe, you are exactly where you belong. This is Tales of Hogwarts, where magic is not just remembered, it is understood. Until the next tale, mischief managed.